e45 is the most common way to start a chess game, but there is a problem, and is that white can play so many tricks right from the beginning. So today I'm gonna show you not only how to face the 3 strongest moves for white, but also how to avoid getting tricked and actually take advantage of these bad moves to get a winning position early on in the game. Let's go. So, first game, we played the move e5. And now there are so many ways for white to move on, but queen h5 is definitely a great way to start with. That's a tricky move. What is white doing? Attacking this pawn, which is free, is hanging, plus looking at f7, which is not hanging, but just protected by the king. The best way, the most solid way to deal in this position is to defend this pawn with the knight. But now white is usually attacking this pawn one more time. So in order not to get checkmated, we have to take immediate action, and we need to play the move g6. Now the queen has to move, and you're attacking here one more time. What is the best way to defend? By developing the knight, interfering with the queen. And already now white will realize that their plan went side away, because the queen is out too early and is controlling the square where the knight wants to go. This is how you deal with queen h5. Now, we already have a good position, because white didn't play optimal moves in the opening, but we need to still play on. And what do? We develop the bishops. We need to develop all the pieces. The bishop are missing. So bishop is out, and we are ready to castle. We got a great position. We just need to play still the move d6 and bring the bishop out here or there. Don't forget, in every opening, you need to try to bring the pieces in the most active squares. That was magical, intense. So we play d6, and now what's the best square? Is it bishop here or bishop there? Well, now it's quite clear that I don't want to bring the bishop there because it's attacked once and twice. And white is threatening to take on f7. What is this type of trade? So I'm taking back, they take with the bishop, I take with the king. So I'm trading a pawn and a rook in exchange of a knight and a bishop. Those are 6 points. 3 plus 3, 5 plus 1. But in the middle game, the rooks are not playing. You see, the rooks are usually very much at the corner. They join the game just later on. So for me, in the middle game, it's a better trade. So, you know what? Go ahead for that. If you want, you can do it. What am I gonna do? I will invite them. Come and take me, okay? Come and take me. Hello. Hello there. Take my f7 pawn. It's a trade. It's an offer that you cannot refuse. Great. Also, you know what is another offer that you cannot refuse? To subscribe to this channel. Let's go. So we have 2 minor pieces, which we understood in the middle game is very good. But is not very good if you don't use the pieces. So let's move on and develop. Bring the bishop out. That's the best square, because we are also winning a tempo on the queen. Now I'm gonna play queen here because I'm protecting this bishop one more time, but the most important thing is that I'm ready to bring the rook to the only open file of this position. Bang. Rook f8. Probably I'm going to move the king down next, but I have to watch out for one little thing. This pawn is protected right now by the king. And if I move my king back, there is the move h3. I have to move this bishop, and then this pawn is hanging. So, in this case, I will play first knight here, attacking the queen one more time. Don't forget that the bishop is protected by the queen. I think this is the only square. Then the queen will no longer be putting pressure on my pawn, so I can move my king, and also my rook is starting to play. There we go. The queen is looking at his pawn, but this is protected by the bishop. Now, every time you play 45, there is such a cool square if you want to attack the enemy king for your knight, and this is to go on f4, because the knight here is attacking this pawn directly. So if you can just bring a queen here in front, you can give the kiss of death, which is checkmate. So it would be lovely. And if they try to kick your knight away with the move g3, the king is looking like a cheese, a Swiss cheese, full of holes. Do you see it? Do you see it? Let's go. Nice, nice if you saw it. So we win a queen, that's called a fork, and GG's. New game, we have the central game. Now, in this opening, white is going with the queen out a bit early, which is usually not good. It's not a big deal because they will not lose the queen unless they go with the queen on c3. But I don't recommend you to play this opening since you have to move again the queen and black is very quick to win a queen. All right, queen e3 is a bit better, okay? GG's. There we go, new game. e4, e5, what is white playing this time? Knight f3, which is the most natural move, developing a piece, attacking this knight. And we go with the knight, also a very natural way to protect the pawn. Now, we have the Scotch game. White is going for the center, and we need to trade this pawn. If they take with the queen, you're very happy to win a queen. So usually they have two options. One, they take back with the knight. It's a normal position. Two, they go for the Scotch Gambit. Oh, or they try an opening trap. Because I also have a video about it. Now, if I'm playing the move h6, the knight can be sacrificed here on f7. And after king takes, the queen should be able to join, or maybe the bishop. I don't remember exactly, but that's very powerful. But they are unlucky. They are playing me or you, because you will know now. There is usually one way in all the e4, e5 structure to deal with all these gambits. And this, the move d5. If you can play this move, you're stopping usually the bishop from going on c4, and you're attacking the center, controlling the center even better. So this is usually a very powerful move. Now, I am taking back with the queen, right? The queen is protecting this pawn. The bishop cannot go there. I see what they are doing. I see what you are doing. They want to go with the bishop. But I think now I can just play the move h6. And this is an important difference. Because if they take here, I'm taking with the queen. And if they do this, I give a check. Intermezzo. The knight will be hanging. If they protect with the queen, I first trade the queens, of course. If not, my queen is even protected by the knight. All right, now I just take here. There we go. So we won a piece, 2 pieces. And yes, don't play tricky gambits, guys. There we go, one more time. Will we have a tricky gambit? Will we have queen h5? I don't know. No, we have the Italian game. And what I suggest you to play against the Italian game is knight f6. Yes, you're inviting the fried liver. I will show you hopefully in the next games what to do against the fried liver. Now you can already go for an exquisite move. Knight take e4, sacrificing a knight. Oh no, my poor knight. This is a very good move, because after knight takes, what are you going to do? There is a fork, d5. So we are immediately going to win the piece back, but we also will take control over the center. So that's amazing. Now white has a few moves to deal with. They just capture back, but they could also have played the move bishop take f7. We will see in the analysis what to do. So they took d5. We are forking and we are winning material back. There are 2 options for white. One, they take the pawn with the bishop, so at least they also get a pawn in exchange of a piece. But the best move in this position is a hidden move. is bishop d3. Why? Because after pawn takes, they are also going to get back a pawn. But they gave away the knight and not the bishop. And in an open position like this one, bishops are stronger than a knight. Slightly. It's a slight advantage, but it's a difference, you know? So this is the best move, but it's a really hard move to play. Let's see what white will do. Oh. This is very unexpected. Of course, if we take the knight, now who? This would be fried liver attack, basically. But we are just going to take the bishop. Very solid. They are playing with fire, but they are going to get burned. Because they are playing very aggressive, but they don't have all the tactical reason to back it up, the aggression. Because I didn't make any mistake, and usually if your opponent doesn't make mistakes, there is no reason that you should be able to win the game in a few moves. So after this, I think I have a very powerful move, that is the move f5. What am I doing? I'm attacking this knight, and if the knight is moving away, this knight will be hanging. After this move, you need always to be careful. Never push the f-pawn. Do you remember? Why? Because this king becomes very weak. So, rules in chess are made not to be followed. No, I'm kidding. You need to, when you start to become a stronger player, you need to understand that those rules are just general indications. They want to show you the path. But you have to understand when and which rule to follow according to the precise position. And usually you need to calculate. After f5, if my opponent would have gone with this move, I can just play the move g6. They have to move the queen again, and there are no checks here, no problems, so I'm winning a piece. Now, if I'm taking here, I'm getting mated. So we first play the move knight to d4. I'm attacking the queen. Looking at this pawn, this knight is still hanging, and the only check on h5 is still followed by the move g6. The queen has to move one more time. So I think I'm going to win material now. The queen is going back home, very solid, protecting this pawn, but now I can just snap this knight, and we have an extra piece. But we have a problem. We still need to consolidate our position. Okay, the knight is attacking here. Because our king is a bit vulnerable, and we are still far away from having an easy peasy win. Let's go with knight here, because always good to trade when we are up material. We're attacking this knight twice, which is good, and also this pawn is now attacked once, 2, and 3 times. One very good move could be to take here with the knight, but then we can take here with the queen. And shortly, we need to consider something. Queen h5 check. Pawn pushes, and knight f6 check is another check. But the king can just go on f7, attacking the knight and the queen, and I think we are vibing, so we can do it. Because 2 pieces would be hanging for white again. So we take here. Also, this move has a strong purpose. Is blocking the king from castling. So the king is stuck a little bit in the middle of the board. So actually trading the queens is not too bad for white. And if they don't trade, it's not too bad for us. It's actually good for us. All right, they give this check. We attack the queen. There is another check. Oh! I missed this move, actually. All right, luckily we're lucky, but I should have thought about this move. We have the move bishop g7. The bishop is protected by the knight, so the queen can't take, and we're attacking the queen. And we're ready to castle at the next move. Also, this knight is protected by the bishop. So they can't move the queen really because they lose this knight. This is the only check they have. But I'm just gonna trade here and then bring the rook, attacking the queen. I'm almost playing with all my pieces. The king cannot castle. Here, I should be able to win the game quickly. But how? One idea could be, for example, to slide the rook towards e5, because that check would be almost checkmate. There is still bishop e3. One other Strategy would be to go with the knight forward, but this knight can be traded. I think the best of all the strategy is just to bring the bishop out and try to castle long. Now I can't because the queen is blocking, but I can play the move g5 at some point. If I can castle long, then I will really have a great position with my rook also joining this file. Also, one other idea is to bring... Now we can castle long, which is amazing. Just amazing. This should be a checkmate in a few moves. f3 is giving a square for the king to run away. I will play bishop c6, and I want to sacrifice. Yes, I got him, the rook. After the king goes here, I sacrifice the rook with check. After pawn takes, I'm taking with the queen. If the king goes on g1, it's mate. If the king goes there, I can at least win back the rook. And probably it will be checkmate in a few moves anyway. So now the king doesn't really have this escape route. But I'm also threatening another thing, which is queen d1. Almost checkmate. The king can go there, and then I can do the same exact thing. I could also just take the rook, but I like to go for the kill, if I can. Like, on the chessboard, of course. Don't call police. Like the video, actually. Yes. White is thinking, and... it's force mate, guys. Check! And then... remove your headphones. If you're wearing headphones, remove them. 3, 2, 1. The rook! Sorry. I told you. And now the pawn has to take. And then we take with the queen. If the king is moving, we just take on f1 and it's checkmate. Boom! Nice. Bishop c4, another opening. This is the bishop opening, and they're already attacking this point, so we go with the move knight e6, which has many ideas. One, we are just avoiding all the idea of the scholar mate, which is good. Two, we are attacking a pawn, which is now hanging. Is this some sort of sacrifice? We need to be careful when our opponent is gifting us a pawn, because after this, for example, maybe the move queen here can be played, but I'm not scared of that. I think I'm gonna just do this. I accept the gambit. Now, two things are under attack, and I have one easy way to protect both of them, which is queen f6. This is what I saw. I'm also threatening counter checkmate, but I always ask, can I do something better? And there is one typical move that if you can do it is usually very strong, and it's the move d5, because d5 is now attacking the bishop with tempo, and also controlling the center. I was brain frozen. My brain was, yeah, whatever. But I don't like that I lose this pawn with a check. So I'm not sure. Maybe queen f6 is just the right move. I usually don't like to go out with the queen so early, but if it works, it works, and I already have an extra pawn. I think we do this. Imagine we checkmate. They wanted, they tried. This is call an ambulance, but not for me. Okay, knight f3 I think is the best of the moves. Attacking this pawn, protecting the mate. Very logical, very sensible. And I need to protect this pawn, probably they will play the move. Knight c6. I also could play actually bishop c5. And after queen takes, I take, and then I win this pawn. But this pawn would also be hanging. So we just protect the knight with, sorry, the pawn with the knight. And then we can keep going with the move bishop c5, attacking here. We can try to play the move d6, bishop e6, something like this. Maybe castle long, maybe castle short. Both should be fine. We have an extra pawn. It's not a big deal, but it's something we can be happy. how do we win the game when we have an extra pawn? Well, if everything goes according to the plan, we could trade down all the pieces. We just remain with a king and pawns, and we promote the extra pawn we have. We give checkmate. To get there, we have to sweat quite a lot. So usually the best plan, as in every position, is to play with all our pieces. And here we are not playing with all our pieces. There is still a bishop to bring out, a rook to bring out, a king to bring to security, this other rook to bring to the game. So we still have to do quite some dirty job. And there is something that is a little bit concerning. Okay, the move d4, is this concerning? Would be concerning if this bishop would be hanging, but after pawn takes... Maybe now they have rook e1. Because this knight is not protected. Ay, ay, ay. I might have blundered. Now I have to be careful because it's still on. The problem is still on. If I take... Well, but not really. No, no, no. The problem is off. Yeah, there is no problem. We will see in the analysis. Oh, I forgot to analyze the previous game. We will analyze both games after this one. Now, the point is that after knight takes, if I take back, I am also attacking this point. So the rook cannot be moved. And if the rook is moved, I think I can take here. Yeah. And it's very cool because after pawn takes, it seems like I'm just losing the knight, but the bishop is suddenly going here, giving a check. I take the rook, and then I don't lose material. I should be completely fine. So the bishop is going back. I think, so if I take here, the pawn is taking. We have to move this knight, and then this bishop is hanging. If we move the bishop, then this guy is hanging. So I think it's time to go for an intermezzo move that was needed long time ago, but now becomes extremely, I don't know, I don't like my position. Okay, it's g6 maybe. Then the queen goes there, and then I can take... Okay, this, actually no, this is great. Because if the queen goes there, you know what I'm going to do? I'm gonna play d5 with tempo. That's nice. And where else can the queen go? The queen can go there, which looks strong. But then I could take here, maybe pawn takes. Still unclear. Still very much unclear. And then take there. Rook takes, I take here, king takes. I'm not a fan of this position, but okay. d5, boom, easy clap. This is very, very important. We are protecting this knight with tempo. The queen is now under attack, needs to move again. And actually the queen is almost lost. Almost. Because if the queen goes there, they lose the queen. I'm taking here intermezzo, removing the defensor of the queen, and then I snub it. So the only square remaining is this one. But then our extra pawn is going to be a solid extra pawn. Because we could also simply castle. We can also take here and then castle. Oh no. No, 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 no. Yo, papa. Yo. Papa. What have you done? You know, papa means dead in Italian. So it's a sweet word. Papa. The pawn is taking. We take the queen. And now... Yo, papa, that's not looking good. The pawn could take a knight, but this would mean also checkmate in 3 moves. Do you see that? We give a check. The king has to move, and there is just 1 square to go. Oh, sorry, 4 moves. There is just 1 square to go. And this h1. And then we have bim. Boom. And what We don't have checkmate. Ah, there's still another check. What? Yo, Baba, stop it. Bomb. Okay. So, quick analysis. The move bishop c5 is the mistake here for what we saw. Because there is the move d4. And after pawn takes, which is another blunder, making the things even worse, rook e1. Nah. Pinning the knight, super strong. The pawn is going to take back, but how do we defend this knight? We can't play the move d5 because the pawn is just hanging. So here the best move is just to sacrifice the piece. Not good. So instead of bishop c5, the best move here is to play the move g6. Just releasing a little bit of pressure. Now finally there is no problem here anymore, so we can move the queen away. And also, where is the queen going? Because if the queen is going on g4, we already saw this beautiful discovery attack. And this wins a piece here. So the only way for the queen is to go on h4. And now we can happily trade the queens as we have an extra pawn. We need to develop all the remaining pieces. We can play bishop e7, castle, try to play d6 or d5. Just develop, you have an extra pawn. And a very solid extra pawn, so you can try to push for a win here. We still need to analyze the previous game, because I wanted to show you here what to do if the bishop is taking on f7. It seems like a very strong move, because after king takes, knight takes, pieces are traded and black has a king exposed. But you have a huge compensation for this king slightly exposed, and it's going to be the center. The strong center. The knight has to move. If the knight gives a check, now we can see how you're going to put your king in safety, and your king is going to g8. And then what are you going to do next? Remember, the purpose of castling is there are two reasons. One is to bring the king to safety, but also to bring the rook to the game. This rook is not joining the party right now. So what we need to do is h6, king h7, develop this bishop and bring the rook to f8. If we can do that, and usually we can just do that, we have an amazing, amazing position. Oh, we have a new game, e4, e5. What is white playing? Knight f3, we have seen this already, and Italian game. Another chance for the fried liver. All right. Do not move the same piece twice in the opening. And this is a very good example, because why do you have to protect this pawn with the bishop if you could have just brought the knight out and protected with the knight? That was not a great idea. Plus, this bishop here is really in bad shape. That's why when I say like develop the pieces, I like to specify in the most active squares. And bishop d3 is not the most active squares for multiple reasons. First of all, the bishop is blocked by his own pawn, so this is just a slightly stronger pawn. But also, the bishop is stopping the pawn from being pushed, and this pawn needs to be pushed in order to let this bishop out. So that's bad for multiple reasons. Now, you see, the knight is protecting this pawn, so finally white could move the bishop back. But now this is a waste of tempo. The bishop has been moving way too many times. And we go back. Now we are pinning this knight, and I'm preparing a very, very strong move, which is knight d4. Exploiting this pin at the maximum of his level. Okay. White played bishop e7. This bishop has been moving so many times already, but that's fine. They protected at least against this very annoying pin. Now I'm going for the center. I have all my pieces fully developed, so I can move on. There is a tactic. Ooh, okay, there would have been knight takes e5, maybe. Whatever, we will see this after. Now, knight take e5 doesn't work anymore, because even if this bishop is hanging, I can first take here, the queen has to take, and then the queen can take because the queen is protected. We need to still bring the rooks to the game, so a rook on the d file, a rook on the e file are perfectly placed. Okay, we need to move the queen away. I think this square is great. And I want to say something about the move c4. Remember, pawns are never going backwards. Okay, this was a very interesting move. I had to specify it. I luckily have this move because the two queens are... Oh. I lost an exchange, I think. Yeah. Maybe. I have bishop here, rook there. Okay, let's play it this way. I want to keep the bishop here. So at least I'm gonna take quite some pawns in exchange of it. There we go. Now a very good move is just bishop here, trying to trade my bishop. I mean, that's good. They're taking a pawn. Okay, we have a problem. We have a big problem. We're going to have just one pawn to compensate for being an exchange down. Exchange down is when your opponent has a rook, you have a bishop or a knight. It's okay. More or less. More or less. I will play rook d8 and I'm preparing something very nasty. Very, very nasty. Ooh. Iha. Check. Check. Well, not really a check. Check. So the annoying part here is the back rank checkmate. If not, I would have a great position because I'm pinning this. Now I have to... Ooh! Ooh. 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 Alright, so we won material. That. That. Uh-huh. That's very intelligent. Because now if I take this rook... Opa. So I have to take this one. And we will have a very, 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 very interesting endgame. Where I have two bishops, my opponent has a rook and a pawn. A very dangerous pawn. Now there is one thing that in the endgame you have to do as quickly as possible. And is to run with your king. Because the king can no longer be checkmated. So we really have to go fast. Faster. Go. Go. So the king is actually going to stop this pawn, and this is very important because now I can use my bishops to capture this pawn together with the king. The bishop alone couldn't capture the pawn because the rook can simply protect it, and the two bishops cannot attack on the same color, no? Alright, I'm playing this very nice move because I want to block the rook from getting in. And my king is still marching towards this pawn. Okay, okay. Playing bishop here to protect. Now we go in. We get in with the king. Once we are collecting this pawn, it's not over. It's not over. It's not over. So if I take, they have a very, very annoying idea. That is check, because after I take, they take here, and I lose both bishops. So this is a very strong move. But I might have a nice, powerful intermezzo with bishop here. If pawn takes, I'm taking. Okay, that's just great. And where is the rook moving? If the pawn is taking, I'm just taking this this rook. And if the pawn takes, I can just go to stop this pawn with the king because the bishop is stopping the other pawn. And with an extra piece, we have an easy win in this endgame. So the rook has to be moved. Where? Well, they could try to go to attack one or the other pawn. I don't like this move. It's very passive. Yeah, they want to try to keep this pawn, but I will just play bishop here. The pawn anyway cannot be pushed, or at least shouldn't be pushed. And now it's a very comfortable win. I could go to take this pawn first, but actually this pawn can be promoted. This is the rule of the square. You can draw a diagonal and you need to see, can the king get inside this box? No. And this box gets smaller every move, so if the king doesn't have a chance, we'll never have a chance, because the box is always getting smaller. And now it's time to give a checkmate as quickly as possible. There we go, we give a check. And GG's. Quick analysis, we need to see just one move. In this position, I got a very nice advantage, as you can see by the evaluation bar. This move is a mistake because this pawn behind will be forever young. No, forever hanging. No, weak, sorry. But I chose the wrong square with the queen. I can go in any other square. d6, d7, and I should be fine. Those are the only two squares available not to hang the queen. I like queen d6 because it's also keeping this pawn protected, and there is no tactic with either knight g5 or knight take e5. So the position was very good for black. White moved that bishop way too many times, but tactically you always need to stay alert. Next game, knight out. Perfect. Italian, Spanish, Scotch, Italian. One more time. Will they go fried liver? No. Okay, this is called Neumann Gambit, I guess. We'll take this pawn and think later. There is always one thing you need to be careful once you take this pawn. And it's rook e1, pinning your knight to your king, losing a piece. We have seen this already happening, unfortunately. Well, didn't happen, but could have happened. A move that is always very important for black is the move d5. Very well. Because we are stopping this bishop, protecting the knight, in this case, as we took a pawn, and we are ready to bring the two bishops out, castle, we are fine. Actually, we have an extra pawn, so we are more than fine. All right, queen d2, queen e2, sorry, is a good way because you're attacking the knight, and if the knight moves, the pawn behind is hanging, but I'm playing the move d5, protecting and attacking at the same time. Remember, the best defense is the attack. And that's a great example. Now the bishop has to move one more time, pinning this knight, so this pawn is hanging. And in this case, I have to play a move that usually you should never play, but in this case it's necessary, and it's also fine, because we are protecting the pawn with the f-pawn, and it's alright, yeah. What is now white going to play? Maybe d3, castle, or d4. Okay. We could leave the pawn there. I could play just bishop here. Pawn takes, knight takes. No, I'm just gonna take there. Yeah, maybe this was a mistake. Where either you win or you learn, that's what they say. Let's try to find a solution. So this is the problem, that the knight is pinned to the king, so now f3 would win a piece. But it's not the only problem, because the threat is also to take here, and after pawn takes this, and then we lose the rook. And I think we have to let this rook go, is the less expensive thing that we lose. At least we don't lose a full piece. Better to lose an exchange than a full piece. And we are ready to castle, which is the most important thing. There we go, they are taking, bishop is taking, and we will play bishop d7, protecting the check. And now after bishop takes, we take back with the queen, and we just lost an exchange. There we go. Now castling is actually still hard, because this bishop will be unprotected. Okay, we move back the knight. This bishop, as you can see, is unprotected. Whew. We need to activate the queen. Let's go with the knight here. No, let's bring the queen out. Seems like a good move. Protecting the knight, protecting this pawn. We still can't castle, but we could play king f7. That's an interesting move. King f7 followed by rook e8. At least we don't leave this bishop hanging, and our rook is ready to also join the party. The king is not that unsafe on f7 actually, shielded by this pawn. Not a huge difference, but the only problem is that we have used 2 tempo instead of 1 tempo. With a castle you put the king to safety, bring the rook to the action. Here we first put the king to safety, more or less, and then we will bring the rook to the action. There we go. Queen is moving one more time, attacking this little pony. Every time you can do a move with tempo, you do it. Now I'm improving my bishop, attacking the queen that needs to move one more time. That's a great idea. Now I dare you to go with the queen on e3. Do you see what happens? If queen e3, what can I play? I have a very powerful move. Extremely powerful move. All right, the queen goes there, which I think is one of the safest square, but I will keep going with my plan. I'm thinking about playing knight here, and after knight takes to give a check, and I'm attacking the queen. Bishop here is the only move. But then after I take, the queen can take. With a check and the bishop is hanging. All right, what else can we play? Okay, let's play g5. I'm attacking this bishop. Let's see where this bishop is moving. Of course, if they take, I'm very happy to take back. Now we have the bishop here looking at the king. And the queen is under attack. Cannot go there, cannot go here. This check would be too strong. The queen is also coming to give a check. And there we go. Now this pawn is falling. Suddenly, this position is starting to be very, very, very attractive for me. Imagine a queen coming here to attack also this pawn. We're forcing the move g3. Then the other bishop is coming in. Maybe the queen is coming back to attack that way. All right. I think it's time to sneak here. And there is a pawn hanging. I know. But come to take me. Have you seen the Matrix? You know the move when he does like this? Come take that pawn. Because we play this move, protecting the check, attacking with the queen with tempo. The queen has to move and then we take here and it's gonna be mate. So this pawn is more poisoned than a bad spider. Oh no, my bishop. Again, the bishop cannot be taken like this pawn, also very poisoned, because we take here and it's checkmating 2 moves. And the problem is that I don't see a way to stop the checkmate, even if white is realizing. Yeah. GG's, we shortly need to analyze this game. So at this point, as I told you, this move was a mistake. And we saw in the game why. And what we need to play is, for example, something very simple, bishop d6. And I was shortly saying like, okay, what about this move? Because this move would be interesting. After bishop takes, there is queen h5. And then this bishop can be taken. But already this is not good because after king f8, the knight is getting unpinned. And so the knight is now protecting the bishop. And after this, of course, if we take back, this bishop is hanging, but apparently black has lots of attack going on, counter-attack actually going on. This bishop has to move one more time, and then there might be some discovery checks by first moving the knight and then the bishop on this diagonal. Anyway, the safest move here is to play bishop d6. And after takey, knight takes, you can just say goodbye. I just castle, don't even accept your knight. It's equal material, but we are attacking this pawn, attacking this knight. The bishop can come out very easily. Here, for example, the queen can come out here to attack this pawn one more time. The other rook can join the game. Black is amazing. The Scotch game, we have it again. Will they play the Scotch Gambit? Oh, we have this one more time. But we already know the move. d5, don't play h6. And now we take with the queen. What? Why they all play like this? I'll play h6, now it's time. Because after bishop c4, there is an in-between check. All right, we won a piece again in 7 moves. Yeah, this move is tricky. Because if we take with the pawn the knight, there is rook e1 and we lose the queen. But we can take with the queen, giving a check. The king has to move one more time. So we won a piece with lots of interest. Now, if the king is going up, I think it's just mate. Not yet. soon to be made. So the king will have to move there, and then we take this pawn as well. And we could castle long to bring the king to the party. Oh, this could be amazing. This could be beautiful. This is almost a long castle checkmate. But okay, the king has still 1 square. Well, 2 squares. Sorry, 3 squares. But this is mating 2 or 3 moves. Alright. I think we give a check. King has to move again. Wow. Wow. We give a check. The king cannot go in all these squares. So there is just 1 square to go. And then I think we have a checkmate by a pawn. Nice. Final game with e4, e5. Let's see what Al Popo will play. Okay, perfect. We have the Ruy Lopez. And here I suggest you to play bishop to c5. This helps you to get a very simple position against the Spanish. So white is basically using one idea that we have already seen, and is that after knight takes, there is the move d4. The point is that we know how to deal with it, because we can take here, and after the move d4, we play bishop d6. We are in an open position, and so we save the bishop. And now this position is honestly already roughly equal, but we have some interesting chances to attack this king suddenly, with my bishop ready to strike. Already queen h4 is looking very interesting. Let's go. Queen h4. Threatening mate on h2. g3 or h3 were the only moves. I'm going to play queen on h3. And already knight f6, knight g4 as a huge threat. This is why having actually a knight on f6 for black and on f3 for white is very important for the defense of the king. So removing this knight, not always a great idea. Bim, boom, bam would be checkmate. How to stop it? Maybe they will try to play the move f4. This is a great move, trying to play this. I will play the move, d6, of course. I want to open up this diagonal so that the bishop here is not possible. Other aggressive ideas can be number 1, h4, h5. We take and we give mate because we opened up also the rook. Okay, we always need to look for their ideas, and they want to go back with the bishop. All right, let's play h4. Anyway, if they go back with the bishop, we'll go back with the queen. It is a good defense, but now maybe they have to play the move h4 to stop my pawn from going forward. Or f4, f5, but also risky. All right, I'm going all in. I think f4 is still a good move that white could try to play to try to strike back. Because if not, our attack can look really strong. We are taking here, and then... Well, we don't really have a way to slide the queen on the h-file, because the bishop is controlling the square, so... Maybe we need a bit more moves. Alright. Oh, it's very important not to lose that pawn. I don't like but I have to play queen b7. But then we can maybe push this pawn, kick this knight. There is one problem for me, and is that I didn't develop all my pieces. So I need to put a bit of focus there, because without a good development, you shouldn't start an attack. Or at least you can start an attack, but in theory, it shouldn't work. So we play c6 to attack this knight, and then I'm going to develop this knight. Maybe here. You know why they play the move c3? Because they want to play f4. I'm taking here. There we go. And now knight out. White is also not fully developed. This bishop is still at home, but they could play bishop e3. But I don't have a simple way to castle, even if I don't really want to castle. Okay, I'll play queen c7 to open up this bishop, because if I castle short, this pawn, if I castle long, this pawn might be hanging. But maybe that's exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, we will attack the queen has to be moved. Where is the queen going? Ooh, I think I love this trade. Look, all the light squares now around the king. They are very weak. Okay, I don't have a bishop of the light squares to fully exploit it, but my knight is still gonna be very sneaky. And I'm going to castle long, meaning that we have opposite side castling, and now having an open file is super useful. I can double my rooks, I could try to bring a queen, for example, to h3. Ooh, or maybe not. And this pawn is poisoned, because if white is taking, I play b6, blocking the way back for the bishop, and I'm winning that piece. Perfect. This is a move that was played in a Fischer game for the first time, and now everyone knows that the pawn, that pawn shouldn't be taken. There is a pawn that could be very juicy, and this is the pawn on h2, because if I take it with the rook, boom, the king shouldn't take, because there is a fork and the queen is lost. So now white is in a valley of despair, and they just resigned. If you enjoyed this video, you should check out this one. I compared the London system and the Italian game to understand which one is the best opening for white. And the result, well, you have to see. Check it out.